Welcome back to another episode of Ferox Frank Reviews here on the Ferox Frank channel. It is time to do another Jet Li film. Now, amongst all martial arts actors, I've actually only covered Jet Li a couple of times, honestly, and I feel as if I gotta do more with him. Yeah, same thing like when I do slasher, when I do horror films, I gotta do a couple of other certain character films, give or take. You know, Freddy Krueger. But that's a tale for another day. That's a set of reviews for a whole different day. So today, here on the Ferox Frank channel, we're going to talk about another Jet Li film from the Jet Li collection that is vastly different in the U.S. version. So, without further ado, here is Jet Li's The Master.
Trust.
Okay, I just want to clarify a couple of things. One, I didn't exactly watch the DVD version of the movie particularly, mainly due to the fact that I've been having some problems with some of my media equipment. Like some of my DVD players aren't working. I had to get them like checked out and stuff, like get them cleaned and everything. So I actually found the film was actually on YouTube. The entire goddamn movie was on YouTube, like no joke. So from there, I watched the entire movie. But other than that, it's the exact same fucking movie. It's the exact same film, regardless. But one thing is, like, there's actually some stuff that was actually removed from the movie, particularly from when it was first released, compared to the U.S. version. But other than that, it's arguably the same movie. So either way, let's get started with the film. The movie basically opens up in the United States in Los Angeles, and okay, before I go any further, here's a bit of a fun fact. What was Jet Li's first film in the U.S.? I want you to think about that real quick. Think about it. If you guys said Lethal Weapon, you guys are completely dead wrong. This movie came out first, released in 1992, literally 6 years before that film ever came out. So yeah. The movie was literally shot here in the U.S. and it was distributed in China, but it never got released in the U.S. until maybe a few years later, after the boom, that was Jet Li's masterful performance in Lethal Weapon 4. I'm sort of thinking maybe I should do the Lethal Weapon films. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. So the movie actually starts off with a gymnast girl by the name of Anna, who basically gets disqualified because she gets into a fight with another gymnast. More on that later. Although ironically, in the original version, that wasn't in the original Chinese version. Okay, a little weird. Anyway, we basically follow an old man by the name of Sifu Tak, who actually owns a medicinal medicine shop that does Chinese remedies. Okay, and he gets attacked by his American student by the name of Johnny. Okay, there's an American Johnny joke from Family Guy here, but you know what? I'm not gonna touch that because honestly, I'm better off with this character than Quagmire. Seriously, the less I hear about, the less sexual giggity jokes here, the better. Mainly due to the fact I'm not really a Quagmire fan because I fucking hate that character. And he's actually one of the reasons why the show never got nominated for an Emmy. I want to think about that. So anyway, Johnny actually challenges Sifu to a fight, and they do actually wind up fighting, kung fu fighting. And he does, and unfortunately, Tech gets beat up really badly. Anna actually watches the entire fight, and she actually picks up the Sifu and takes him someplace safe. A month later passes by, and Jet comes in. And yeah, Jet's character's name is Jet, and for some stupid shit about him actually coming into the country illegally, but now he's actually on a temporary visa pass, so whatever. there's some legal immigration crap going on in this movie, and it's just like ridiculous. I'm not going to bother getting into it though. So he comes to the shop and he winds up getting robbed by three Latino gang members, and he chases them literally all around. And they actually wind up giving him his stuff back, and they go, "Please train us, please train us." I wish I was making that part up. Seriously, I mean, these guys literally they rob him. And they go like blocks. They drive blocks away. He catches up to them, and they're like, "Here you go, please train us, please train us." It's like, the fuck? What just happened? I mean, this is just completely ridiculous. I mean, okay, he just got off the plane, and he makes his way to Los Angeles, and he gets robbed. He gets his stuff back from the people who just robbed him, and they are literally requesting him to train them in Kung Fu. Just let that sink in. You know what? I'll give you a minute. Just let that sink in. Go ahead. I'm ready to get a drink. Just let that sink in. Sunk in enough? Yeah, because that whole thing is so ridiculous. Eventually, he makes his way to his teacher's shop, and it's actually in foreclosure at the moment. It's actually being boarded up because he actually was missing for a while. Where he meets a woman by the name of May, and she tells him that he can't actually stay there. That the bank technically owns the property now. It's like, oh, that's just great. Anyway, he actually hooks up back with the students. He actually goes wandering around Los Angeles for a bit, though. He eventually meets back with the three gang members again, who are requesting that he actually teach them kung fu. They actually go back to they take him to their old HQ for him to stay, and a bunch of other gang members show up and actually beat the crap out of him. And fun fact, one of the other gang members is Billy Banks. Yeah, Billy Tybo Banks is in this movie. I never thought I would ever see him in a Jet Li movie. But still, it's like one of the most random cameo appearances I've ever seen. Oh, wow. You know what? I'm just going to take it as it is. All right, Tybo Banks is actually in a Jet Li movie in a cameo appearance as a gang member. Works for me. I mean, it's kind of like saying that Jean-Claude Van Damme's first film appearance was actually in a Chuck Norris film. Oh, wait. It actually was. Missing in action. So eventually, their home gets trashed, and he actually lets them stay with. So he brings them to the shop instead, lets them stay there for a while, and of course, like the construction guys come in and they get into a bit of a fight. Mason comes in too, and she yells at Jet, saying he's not supposed to be here. And he goes, "Oh really? Why don't you call the cops then?" And he gets arrested. I'm not joking. Like the next scene is literally him being cuffed, put into a squad car. I don't know if that was actually a joke in the Chinese version or the American version, but it's actually like the most funniest transition I've ever seen. It's like, "Oh really? Why don't you call the cops then?" And they literally call the cops, and like he gets arrested. Oh. What's even more funny is like when he's actually being interrogated, when he's actually writing a statement to the police. The officer that was actually taking his statement down, like he starts having some pains, and Jet is actually helping him of how he can actually work around the pain, what he needs to do and stuff. And the other officers and everybody else who's in the precinct is watching him and taking notes at the same time. It's like, oh, like literally, like I'm not even joking. Like we're seeing all the street officers, the detectives, and people who are actually arrested or watching too. Like a couple of biker guys, a business guy, a couple of car girls are watching too. They're all just standing there watching. Like, oh, okay, okay. How's that perform like that? Oh, okay. Wait, does that have to be like that, or like can we do it like another way? Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, May bails him out, and however, a lead detective comes in and shows him this photo of Johnny, saying that he's actually like the toughest kung fu fighter there is around. It's like kung fu fighter, but he's not Chinese. Like, okay, just to quit the stereotyping here, anybody can learn kung fu. All right, it's not just a Chinese thing anymore. All right, literally anybody can learn it. Okay, seriously. All right, Bruce Lee actually proved the fact that anybody who's anybody can learn kung fu. All right, so Bruce proved that, and it's true. Alright, I'm done with that stereotype. Okay, look, I'm done with the stereotyping crap. You're gonna find a lot of the stereotyping crap all over the place. But by the way, Jet's looking for his master. Where is he this whole time? He's actually living with fuck, what was her name again? Oh, Anna, yeah. Yeah, she's living with Anna right now. She's basically making him stay there so he actually can get better. And of course, he's being a little difficult, and of course, she's difficult too. So it's like, okay, back and forth difficulty. So yeah. Anyway, Jet goes to several kung fu schools actually trying to find out where his master is. And May actually offers to help him, but he doesn't want her help. So it's like, whatever, okay. But the detective tells him if he knows anything about Johnny, if he gets into a fight with him, just let him know immediately. Because they've been trying to build a case against Johnny for the last several years. Because apparently, apparently, if you ever seen the movie, No Retreat, No Surrender, which is actually one of Van Damme's first martial arts movies that he starred in. Yeah, here's the thing. One of the things that was happening in that movie was that there was a corporation going around being martial arts masters and taking over the gym, saying that now it's part of their property. And it turns out that was actually heavily illegal, and one of the biggest criticisms of that entire movie was like nobody was doing anything about it. Well, it turns out that this movie kind of proved that, yeah, people were actually doing... It turns out there were detectives actually doing something about it the entire fucking time. But that's No Retreat, No Surrender. I don't actually have a physical copy of the movie, so I can't actually review it yet. But I will eventually. Anyways, Jet goes around. He goes to a couple of kung fu schools. They don't know anything at all. One master's being very disrespectful, so Jet offers to actually go up against one of his top students, and of course, he clearly beats up the top students without even trying. And ironically, Anna was actually there too. His the three gang members, which are, well, I'm just gonna call the three. I'm just gonna call them the three. Yeah, the three actually show up and they hang out with Jet even more. Eventually, Anna catches up to them, and they actually find out where the Sifu is. And well, there's some fighting going back and forth between them a lot. There's a bunch of arguments going back and forth saying, "I'm not your teacher, you're my teacher," and "Stop calling me teacher, stop calling me teacher." It just goes back and forth like about 10. It goes back and forth like 5 fucking minutes. It's ridiculous. But eventually, the teacher breaks down and says that he doesn't that he can't actually do this anymore, and Jet offers to actually do some help. And well, all right. Jet actually gets some money together, and he actually goes to May for a down payment in the bank. And May was dating her manager at the time, but she found out her manager was cheating on her, so she actually winds up quitting her job. And he goes to the bank and he threatens the manager. So Jet goes to the bank, threatens the manager, puts out a down payment, goes on a lunch date with May. And guess who shows up? Johnny eventually catches up with them, but here's the thing: the gang member that actually went up against the three earlier, they actually have another gang member which I'm just gonna call him Dreadlocks. Since now I looked up in the Wikipedia version saying there was actually 2 guys named Dreadlocks, but in this version, the American version, there's only one guy with dreadlocks. So I'm just gonna call him Dreadlocks at this point because he doesn't really have a name. Like literally, he's clearly the gang leader. And he goes after Jet, and Johnny intervenes, and okay, there's like a 3-way battle between the 3 of these guys, like out of nowhere. And after Dreadlocks leaves, Johnny actually yells at him, like, "You're a tech student. I am also a tech student. I will kill tech. I will become the number 1 student." It's like, okay, awkward. So eventually Jet gets away, and yeah, there's that. Eventually, Jet finally decides to nut up and shut up and trains the 3 in actual kung fu. So yeah, he actually starts to train them a bit. And their skills, as dumb as it was, they actually do progressively get better. So eventually, and I cannot stress this enough. After a couple of weeks of training, the 3, Jet actually reopens the shop, and of course Johnny's men come in. And Johnny's school actually was growing exponentially, and all of his students actually go around beating up other kung fu schools and make them join the inner circle, trying to expand his school. And so his top students go up against Jet Li's students, and it's a back and forth battle between them. And the battle is, well, it's actually entertaining, funny, and not that bad at the same time. Eventually Johnny's students actually wind up losing, and they actually go out to the streets, and Johnny is actually out there watching, and he calls Jet out, and they actually legitimately fight each other in the middle of the streets, like doing legit kung fu fighting. The detective was literally close by. They saw the whole thing. They come in, and they start fighting on top of the car until the cops showed up. Like literally, like the police are surrounding everybody right now with their guns drawn, and you see Jet and Johnny in the kung fu poses, like, wow. You know, this is like the most ridiculous thing I've seen so far. I'm enjoying this. Now, eventually, Jet and the others actually get bailed out, but they actually want to put Johnny away for a good long while, too. Unfortunately, Johnny bails himself out, though, and he finds out his top guy is taking some money away, because it turns out the cops were actually after him, and so was the feds. So Johnny, in a fit of rage, actually squeezes his top guy's throat and throws him out the window, landing him in the middle of the mat. It's like, okay, I know this is supposed to be a modern-day kung fu film, but, you know, some of this shit doesn't fly by today's standards. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Who cares? It's a kung fu film. So things start calming down a bit more and more, and Johnny's school is basically being shut down because the feds are going after him and everything. So what does Jet actually do? Jet decides that he wants to leave. It's the teacher. He actually winds up leaving. The three actually stay behind to help the school out just a bit more, even though Tech doesn't really want them to help out. Ridiculous circumstances aside, anyway, Jet actually is actually on the bus on the way to the airport, and he notices he forgot his passport. But before he can do anything, Dreadlocks is actually on the same fucking bus, takes out a shotgun and starts shooting. And he actually kills the bus driver, and there's a fight between him and Jet on the bus. Dreadlocks actually gets killed in the most ridiculous way I've ever seen. I'm surprised nobody memed this thing yet. Basically, he grabs the shotgun, he's about to shoot Jet, but Jet kicks it to the point where he's holding the shot. Okay, here's the thing, it's a pump action shotgun like this. Alright, he kicks it, and the gun just goes like this. So he's holding it like this, and the most ridiculous thing happens. He hits the wall, and he pulls the trigger, and it literally slam fires 4 fucking times, killing him like, 4 fucking times. It slam fires. Okay, bit of an interesting fun fact. For some of you who don't know what the term slam fire is, here's what the term actually means. This was actually a tactic that the American soldiers actually did in the First World War, within the Great War itself. Now Germany was trying to ban the shotguns because they were too powerful, and they were considered too powerful, and they were considered uncivilized. Here's where the term slam fire comes from. You see, how do you shoot a shotgun? Well, okay, for the pump action, it goes click, click, bang, click, click, bang. That's a decent way how to shoot the thing, which is the most common way. Now, the term slam fire comes from this. You click, click, bang, but you hold the trigger down and just pump the gun and literally keep pumping it. So the term slam fire is when you pump it back, and the second the shotgun bullet goes into the chamber, it automatically fires. So instead of basically going like bang, click, click, bang, it goes bang, 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 bang. Hence the term slam fire. And seriously, I'm not gonna lie. If this was actually done as a police report, how do you think that it was going to be explained? Okay, wait a minute. You kicked the guy and he shot himself 4 times with his shotgun? Seriously? I was like, and there's like 15 people on the bus who saw that happen. I was like, yeah. It's like, officer, have you ever heard of slam fire? That's exactly what happened. Anyway, eventually the bus stops and the guy's head actually hits a giant piece of glass, a shattered piece of glass on the window. May comes in and actually checks on everybody, and oh dear God, she freaks out. But I would love to see the police report come back. It's like, suspect actually, okay, the suspect went in to kill somebody, and he shot himself 4 times with a shotgun, and he got his head impaled on a piece of glass. Does that sound suspicious to anybody? Anybody at all? Anyway, Johnny eventually finds Anna and actually kidnaps her, and actually calls up Tack, and actually, and there's a bit of a funny moment. There's like a bit of a funny moment. I'm pretty sure it was actually in the original Chinese version, but it's actually something that the German student was talking to him in a German accent, and he gives the phone to one of the Latino, to one of the 3 guys, to one of the 3. It's like, hey, I'm trying to understand this. Can you listen to? Another guy picks up and takes the phone and actually starts talking in Asian, in his typical Chinese stereotype language, and he goes, what? And you hear one of the 3 guys goes, what? But I don't understand what he's saying. It's important. Seriously? Oh. So anyway, Tech leaves a last will and testament behind for Jet, and they also write down the address of where they want to meet. Now, this is actually the second time Anna's been kidnapped, but actually the only time Anna's been kidnapped. Anna was actually beat up earlier, but she actually wound up healing her. But she actually was saved by Jet and the others. So now she's actually taken hostage again. And so Sifu, Tack, and the 3 actually wound up going to the main building, which is actually within the LA skyline, by the way. And keep this in mind, this movie was actually made before the LA riots took place. So yeah, way before the LA riots. And this is a kung fu film here in the United States. And it didn't come out into the United States at all until like much later. On DVD. Kind of a shame, don't you think? So Tack actually takes on a bunch of the students back and forth until he eventually tires. Meanwhile, Jet and May actually make it to the shop. They actually find the note, find his last will and testament, and actually find the note where the hell they went. So they actually get there, and Jet starts fighting off all the students along with the 3. All right. Anyway, Johnny actually tells him to let go of Anna. So yeah, Anna is actually hanging from a flagpole, and they actually decide to drop her. But Tack and the 3 actually grab the rope, and they actually save her, literally in the nick of time. While Jet actually has his final bout with Johnny. And the fight is like literally back and forth between the 2 of them until they actually go into the skyline and you find within the building. The police finally show up much later on, and after Johnny is actually physically defeated by Jet, he actually it says he's defeated until he sets off an explosion that actually makes him go out the window, and they're hanging literally off of a sign off of the building. And he continues fighting Jet until Jet actually hits him to the point where he lets go, and he literally falls over 100 stories from the top of the building all the way into the pavement, killing him, dying instantly. Way to go, jackass! So some time passes. Anna is now actually safe and healed. She goes back on the cheerleader. She goes back on the gymnastics squad, and she wants up leaving, wishing everybody luck. While Jet decides to leave himself, and he realizes that May is also on the bus with him, and he goes, "Wait a minute, and so yeah, May decides they're going to stay together, and so Jet realizes, "Hey, wait a minute, my passport's missing again." And he looks outside, it's like his master's there with the 3, and they have his passport. You're not going anywhere. Right, so I'm stuck here again. The end. Anyway, that's Jet Li's The Master. And what do I have to say about this movie? Well, it's okay. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, it's been like it's been over a decade since I've seen this movie, because I saw this movie like way back in 2010, I think. I'm not sure if it was 2009 or 2011 when I last saw this movie, but I bought it, saw it, didn't leave much of an impression on me, so I just like shelved it, and it's been in my shelf for a long time and collecting dust. And when I was doing getting my show ready at the time, I saw it there just like a couple of months ago. I'm like, oh shit, forgot I had this film in my possession. So I reviewed it. So I watched it again, reviewed it, and like I said, it's okay. It's basically considered a time killer at this point. So yeah, that's literally Jet Li's The Master. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I kind of do. It's basically like a decent kung fu film. You can just kick back and just like shut your brain off and watch some some good old-fashioned kung fu action in the modern-day setting. But the fact that this movie was made here in the United States but never got released here until much later, it's actually kind of disappointing. It's also kind of like saying like, oh, like Japan actually made a bunch of Pepsi commercials in the United States, but were only shown in Japan, and it wasn't until like maybe 20 years later, like 15, 20 years later, when the internet was fully popular, we got a chance to see what the commercials were. I'm referring to the Pepsi Man commercials. Yeah. Other than that, that's basically about it. Well, that's all for now. So, until then, y'all take care. What am I going to review next? I don't have a fucking clue. See ya.
Empty